Almost. That was worth a shot. Hey everybody, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, getting ready to catch a flight to Sedona, Arizona. Rich and I are going to go out for a 3-day mountain bike trip, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Today's going to be a long day. We got to do some traveling, but once we get there, I'm going to try to document as much as we can, show you guys all the cool stuff that's out there. So hopefully it'll be a really good time, and I'm glad you guys can come along. Right now, I got to get ready. All right, let's light this candle. Sedona, Arizona, the land of Red Rock country. After a 5-hour flight to Phoenix, we rented a truck and drove 2 hours to Sedona. We got ourselves situated at the place and headed off to get something to eat.
Here's what we really came here to do.
We found a little bar and grill that went by the most outrageous name. Wait for it, the Sedona Bar and Grill. After lunch, we headed over to the bike shop to get the bikes we rented. The place was called Over the Edge. It's a small place along the main drag of Sedona. The staff couldn't have been more friendly, and the bikes we rented, well, were not too shabby. Rich picked up a 2019 Santa Cruz 5010. It had a little brake noise, but otherwise was well maintained for a bike that probably been through the ringer for the past year. I fared a lot luckier. I was able to get my hands on a 2020 Santa Cruz Hightower, and I'm pretty sure I was the first person to ride it. Brand spanking new. I've never ridden a 29er before, so I figured this would be a good way to try one out. And boy, was I happy I did. I think I'm going to do a bike check episode on this bike, so stay tuned for that. Talking with the fellas at the shop, they recommended a nearby trail to get our feet wet. So come morning, that's where we're going to start. Yeah, that's what the sky looks like at night. I couldn't believe it either. All right, let's go. And we're off. It's alive. The trail is called Adobe Jack, and it's going to connect to a trail called Javalina and brings us around in a loop. It's considered an intermediate trail with some technical features, but not a lot of dangerous exposure. You gotta be. This is the first 20 feet? Oh my god.
I need to get the right gear. I haven't been able to shift.
It better not be this hard the whole way. This is a beginner trail, huh?
Are we sure this is the trail? Like, I don't know how you ride.
Okay, coming clean here. Apparently, we're a couple of idiots and couldn't figure out a simple trail marker. What was clearly telling us to go in a specific direction, we interpreted completely wrong and tried to ride up a dry creek bed. Back on track.
All right, yeah, if this is intermediate, this feels intermediate.
The weather was an agonizing 83 degrees with virtually no humidity. Honestly, I don't know how people can survive out here. It is the worst place on earth. The air is so clean, I think my lungs were rejecting it. Seriously, we'll come back to that. You always got to keep your speed.
Yeah, it's coming down that thing as a little. It's a shot here.
The views were simply stunning.
That's beautiful.
As for the trails, a lot of chunky rock sections and some downhill parts that made me nervous, but nothing outside of our skill level. We took our time and even sessioned a couple of places until we got it.
It takes a minute to sort of trust the terrain a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, because it feels like it's so loose, but it's pretty grippy.
We even took a stab at the infamous White Line Trail.
It's actually scarier than I thought.
If you haven't seen other folks do it yet, look it up on YouTube. Honestly, I don't know what the big deal was. Looked a lot harder on TV. The guys at the bike shop described Adobe Jack as slightly technical with some punchy parts. The terrain was obviously different, but that's how I would describe our trails at home. Javalina was described as more flowy and downhill back to a trailhead, with a road climb back to the truck. It didn't disappoint. There were some fast parts, along with some steep downhills.
Rocky stuff.
It was tricky not being familiar with the trails because sometimes these challenges would come out of nowhere. So obviously some areas presented problems for us. But this is all part of the fun. We knew the terrain was going to be something we weren't used to, and these features were a fun challenge. Sometimes we could do it,
Piece of cake.
and other times, not so much.
Didn't know what to do there.
Anyone familiar with our channel knows we're everyday old guys just doing the best we can.
It's all right. You don't have to apologize. Oh, here you go. I'm feeling the dryness too. Whoa, shit! I thought I could get around it. Woo! Yeah, I'm feeling the altitude a little bit. And I don't know if I'm better in this dry air or worse. Like, I'm definitely more thirsty. And I don't know about you, man. I always forget to breathe in them. You know, I like kind of hold my breath and try to get up them, and when there's a few in a row.
So yeah, the air. Did I mention that Sedona sits about 4,400 feet above sea level? We hadn't really given it much thought. Considering the town where I live is about 250 feet, maybe we should have. Now I don't know for sure. It could have been the altitude, it could have been the 7 hours travel, it could have been a bad day. But halfway through our ride,
Whoa.
I was fighting serious dizzy spells. The least bit of exertion would make me feel lightheaded, even parts where I was going downhill. It was making me a little nervous and a lot of angry.
Yeah, man.
I wasn't too worried that anything was seriously wrong. If it was just the effects of altitude, I'll get used to it. But everything I read said it could take days to weeks to acclimate. I'm only here 3 days. If things stay the way they are, then the whole trip will be ruined.
Come on.
We finally made it back, and after a slow ride up a long hill to the car, we decided to get some lunch and regroup. After lunch, we went back to the place, rested for a while, and decided to hit a trail on the other side of town called Bell Rock.
Well, I know it's where it was supposed to be. I think it was New Mexico where they live.
This was just a short loop, but the views were amazing. This was considered a beginner trail, but it had some nice little bumps we had fun jumping over.
I bet the little jumps would all be more thrilling than anything we've done all day.
We decided we had enough, and the time zone difference was getting to us, so we called it a day. Tomorrow, we're heading out to a trail called Chuck Wagon. I've seen other YouTube videos of this trail, and it looks fun, but not too dangerous. My only concern is if the dizzy spells come back. This trip is going to be a disaster. Stay tuned. To stay notified for the next episode, be sure to hit the subscribe and notification bell. Until next time, stay young and ride safe.